Well, hello and welcome to what is going to be an exceedingly busy day down here at Project Nigel Land, or also known as PMP Poo Poo, where I am about to have an exceedingly busy day. What I haven't decided so far is whether all of the activities of the day is going to go into one simple video, or whether I should split it up into 6. Or at least 4. Briefly then I'll go through what I've got to do today. You can tell me whether all this should be in one video or indeed more than one. First of all, I've got to fit a flexi brake pipe to this car, as well as a part of the brake line which is corroded. So then that will be finished for its MOT. And inside this car here is that brake line. And whilst we're on this car, this is the other thing. I have to make a nice little video of this showing all of its imperfections for a prospective buyer. A similar video needs to be made for this car here. Not that one or that one, but this one, the ZS 180, which so far I haven't actually properly introduced to the channel. No, I haven't. I just did a review of this car instead. And then indeed, if I do get time, oh, I need to keep that thing there. I need to put this car up for sale because it is now mine to deal with. Well, almost. You see, this 75 was just going to get passed straight on to somebody else, but that's not happened. And he called me yesterday to say, I'm sorry, but I can't do it for various reasons, none of which are interesting enough to go into on video or even talk about, or even mention why I'm not talking about them. No. So I'm going to deal with this from now. And finally, there should be a collection calamity. Yes, another car into the yard. That will be its own separate video. Now, before I get started, I may as well admit that there is a slight problem with where to put the Land Rover, unless things go swimmingly well, which they don't usually. Now, of course, if the Land Rover doesn't go as well as I was hoping, then that means it's going to be stuck outside the door and I won't be able to move it. And I won't be able to secure the door properly by plonking the car in front of it. Oh, so that means I need an alternative plan. And it just so happens I've got one. And then I figured that actually wasn't such a good idea, so I've had to put it there. This bloody door's always in the way. When I finally get Boaty's car sorted, this space is no longer going to be for a car that doesn't work. It can't be. It's just so impractical. And bang, the wheel is off. And here is the item that I need to build on. Rigid brake hose. I don't know why it says rigid when the idea is it's flexible. There's the old one, which looks fine, but there's no way of getting this out without breaking something anyway. So I think the main tool I need for this is going to be a flat blade screwdriver and a hacksaw, plus an 11mm spanner. Open-ended. I will always tread carefully with jobs like this because there's always something not quite right, and that is this bit of brake line there has to come undone, but it's just twisting on the flexi pipe. So I think this means I'm going to have to undo it from this end instead and replace this bit of pipe and that bit of pipe along with the flexi pipe. Off, dripping away nicely. All I've got to do now is saw through the brake line. With this bit now in the vise, I can take that off without any issue. These are not supposed to be done up tight anyway, but that one was. Apparently I did this wrong and I've had to borrow a brake line cutter tool to undo my wrong.
About an hour later.
And now down to a major thanks to the chap next door who's helped me out a great deal with this. Boaty, you owe him a pint. Oh, why is it always so busy going up this way? Oh, it's not that bad after all. The time is now 2:30, and that is way beyond din-din time. So, the only option is to go and get something. Some samosas from the Milkston Road. 16 samosas. Oh, excellent. That's how. I'm so hungry I could almost puke. That's weird, isn't it? Do you ever get that hungry that you go beyond being hungry and then end up thinking possibly you couldn't eat anything anyway because your stomach's doing some weird things? It's objecting to being neglected and then punishing you by making you feel ill. That'll teach you. And frankly, I haven't got the energy for these kind of outbursts at the moment. Oh yeah, and where did I go wrong with the brake pipe lines? Well, I sometimes get the impression that the garage love to leave me alone to do a job just to see how well I manage to cock it up. So it's lucky that when it does go a bit wrong, there's always one of them that's happy to come to the rescue a little bit. I've never used one of those brake line cutting tools before. Well, that was quite easy, and it just makes more sense than using a hacksaw. Then I've forgotten what the other thing is that you pair it up and stick the bits of pipe in there and wind bits up to flare it, that's it, a flaring tool. I've never used one of those, and I haven't used it. I've just watched the chap in the garage use it, and yeah, it looks like it's quite a straightforward thing. But yeah, you do need a straight piece of pipe, not a. You don't cut it on the bend, and now I know that, and now I know why.
Boaty's Land Rover now has an MOT.
So, here we are in Carol Vorderman. I bet there's many men which they could say that, but I can because that's the name that I've given to this car. So, this car I picked up last week, or it might even been the week before. I can't even remember. All I know is that the first thing I decided to do with it was just do a test ride review of it. Because I thought it would be good for the channel. I posted a picture of this car on Facebook and had more likes on that picture than any other picture ever. Any other picture that I posted anyway. One thing I do find rather distracting about Carol Vorderman is that boot spoiler. I don't mean whilst looking at it from behind, but looking in the rearview mirror, and there's just this constant blue strip across my eyes like that. And although I can still see, you know, you don't, who in the right mind would, in order to look good, walk around with a blue strip across their eyes like that? Oh, blimey, what's happening here? A traffic jam, which I will not be a part of. Look at the state of that. That's going all the way round down to the junction in Littleborough. No, thank you. No, thank you indeed. Yeah, so a quick turnaround. I'll go the other way and probably join a jam that way instead. Here's a minor niggle. I've put £10 worth of petrol in this car. It doesn't sound like a lot, does it? It's not. But £10, gosh. And the fuel gauge is still where it was, and the fuel light is still on. Now, I know many people would be very, very uncomfortable with driving it like that, but I've put £10 in. I know exactly how far I can go probably about 30 miles. I suspect that the level crossing has been activated down there. Yes. It wouldn't surprise me to get to the level crossing and another train's on its way. They do seem to be quite frequent down here. Oh, look at that. It hasn't helped going this way either. Typical! Typical! It's typical of what happens when I am driving home instead of walking home. One thing I can tell you that has never happened whilst walking home is finding myself in a traffic jam. One of the benefits of swapping and changing cars so often is that you're less likely to get bored of driving home from work. And you're even less likely to get bored of driving home from work if the majority of the time you walk. The only thing is it just gets spoiled. It gets spoiled by just sitting in traffic. It doesn't normally happen like this. I bet someone's gone and done themselves in an accident. Well, I can see what's going on here. Oh, jolly annoying. I've had people overtaking me on foot, and I'm not even joking. There are temporary traffic lights down there. They were there this morning, and they're obviously still there now for the help and convenience of the unhappy motorist on his way home from work. You know what? I'm really annoyed by this, but imagine how more annoyed it would be if I'd just finished a horrible day at work, doing a job I hated, and then having to deal with this as well.